Hello everyone, welcome to our second month of doing stamping for scrapbookers. Below you will find links to all of the other YouTubers who are joining me in this series. It is me, Christina, Sorge, Caitlin, Clary, and Sandy Waversky. So there's 5 of us. Photo for today is this one, which is a photo of my brother, and he has my grandfather's pocket watch. He's all dressed up, and I love this photo. My sister-in-law sent it to me, and I just think it's a fun family photo to document. This month's stamp theme is words. So I have 2 stamp sets I'm going to be using. I have this stamp set, which is from Stamperia. I have not seen this anywhere except the cherry on top, which is where I purchased it. So I will leave a link to it below in case you are interested. It is a red rubber stamp, and it has all kinds of words. And I'm going to do some simple masking, and I'm going to create some fun things with this stamp set. I have a plan in place what I want to do with this. I also have a plan for this one too. So this is Simon Says Stamp, and Kathy Zilski Designs. This is Simple Sentiments #1. And I'm going to go ahead and use some of the words in this stamp set as well. For inks, I've chosen a collection of Ulta New inks. I have Charcoal Soot, Sicilian Amber, Yellow Ochre, Mocha, and Evergreen. And I chose these colors to match both my photo and the collection I'm going to be using today, which is My Mind's Eye, My Heritage. And then for titling, so I have all this My Mind's Eye. I have paper, enamel dots, stickers, the 6x6 paper pad. I'll have my stamping. And then this is a set of thickers called Comfort. This was from one of, I think it was Crate Paper's Snow collection. But I thought it went so well with those black and white patterns. And I'm just going to use a bit of it for my titling today. So that is my plan. These are my products. I'm going to get going on stamping. I will definitely be using my Ginormous Misty today because we're going to do more of a background technique on this layout. Okay, let's get started on my layout. So I'm going to go ahead and take the packaging off of this Stamperia stamp, and I'm going to check how deep it is. So when you're stamping with red rubber stamps in a Misty, you have like these little mouse pad things underneath your Misty. You can see it there. Sometimes, depending on how thick the red rubber is, I have to take out one. Sometimes I have to take them both out. So I was just checking the depth there to see how many of the little mouse pads I needed to take off so that I'll get a good impression with my stamp. I'm putting my stamp off the edge of my page. That will keep me from having to do math because I know I can... I'm not sure if it'll fit like all the way across, but just planning on having it a little off on both ends will make my end design cohesive. Okay, so I am going to use the gray ink. This is the Charcoal Soot ink from Ulta New. And you saw me there grab some purple tape, and I covered one of the words up with the purple tape, so that word is not being stamped in gray. I'm going to go ahead and I push the tape down in between the red rubber to make sure that none of the gray ink is going to end up on my stamp at all. So I'm just going to keep going here, stamping up with the gray and then pulling up that purple tape and then stamping it. I ended up stamping my gray ink 3 times because I really wanted a really crisp ink and a really dark stamping. So this Charcoal Soot stamp set is, this ink color is light. So I gave it 3 passes with the Misty just to make it a little darker. And so I'm going to go ahead and do this one more time. I left the first panel in so you could really get a good idea of how I am stamping the bottom portion of this page. So now I've got the ink and the stamping as dark as I want it. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some purple tape, and now I'm going to mask around the missing word. First, I want to clean this stamp. I want a perfectly clean stamp because I don't want any ink to kind of smudge. I don't want to smudge the words I already have stamped. They're perfect. I don't want to mess them up, and I've been known to do that. So now I'm taking the purple tape and I am masking off around the word memories. So I'm going to put purple tape all around the memories. It is really, really important to remember to pull the purple tape off before you stamp, or else you'll have a big old mess. This is the yellow color I chose. I can't remember if I chose golden oak, the yellow ochre. I think it's the yellow ochre. And then I pulled the purple tape off, stamp it down, and voila. Memories is now highlighted in a brighter, deeper color than the rest of the words on the background. And that's the plan. So I did end up stamping twice just to give a really nice, crisp stamp image. I tend to just always stamp with my Misty twice, mostly, honestly, because I can, not for any other reason. So I'm going to clean the stamp really, really, really well. I'm going to move it over. I love how on the Stamperia stamps, there's an image on the back that shows you exactly where you're stamping, and they're cut really close, so you can really get a good stamped continuous band across the bottom. This is the first time I've used a Stamperia stamp, and I have to say I liked them. There are definitely better red rubber stamps out there. I'll tell you that right now. But I like this design a lot. And I feel like this is a stamp I will use quite often because of all the, it has really cute words and phrases and things like that. And it is a really nice stamp design. So I went free range. I inked up the Joy without adding the purple tape because I felt like I was really using up my purple tape, and that particular roll is almost out. And I'm like, can I do it? Can I do it? And sure enough, I did it. Yes. Okay, so one more pass with the stamp in the gray, and then I'm going to highlight the word love with the mocha ink color. So we have that beautiful evergreen, we have the beautiful mustardy yellow, and then we have that. And you see how it's not going to quite fit? That allows me, that's why I pushed the stamp off to the left so that I could push it off to the right and it didn't look funny. So I have the bottom part of my paper all stamped. Now I'm going to take this little strip. This is just a strip from one of the pattern papers. I'm going to ink it up with some gray ink. And I'm going to add it to the top, and then I'm going to do a little bit more free range stamping below that border strip. So I usually do all of the stamping first. I don't add elements on my page until my stamping is done. I just find that makes my workflow go really well. So I start with the stamping, I get everything stamped I want to stamp, and then I feel like I can move on with the rest of my layout and it goes nicely. The only reason I'm doing this ever so slightly different is because I want to stamp a row of words below this border. So I'm going to take those Simple Sentiment stamps from Kathy Z and Simon Says Stamps, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp these across the top. So I'm going to alternate my colors. I'm going to put a little heart in between each of the words, and I'm going to again stamp off of either side of the page so that it just makes for better stamping. I really think it does when you kind of stamp things off the page. It keeps your page from looking like you stamped it crooked or something. So I'm just going to continue on here. I'm using an acrylic block for this, but I'm keeping my paper on my Misty just to hold it down, hold it still. And if you follow my channel a lot, you know, I use my Misty for lots and lots of things, not just stamping with the window, the door. I use it just to hold my paper. Sometimes I use it to do some ink blending on. It's very useful to have. I'm going to go ahead and add these images just all the way across my page, and I'm trying to get them as straight as possible. I'm using the grid lines on my acrylic block, getting them really nice and straight, inking them up good, and then stamping across. And I'm using that line that I cut. I'm using this border I cut to kind of line up the stamping. And so I chose just all kinds of different phrases that I thought would be really cute. And then you can see there I'm adding that heart to the end, kind of off the page, so I can continue stamping across and be off the page on the other side too. And now it's time to put this page together. And this page did not take a long time. It was a really kind of easy page to put together. I'm going to add that yellow strip right there just to kind of frame out and end the stamping. I'm going to go through the 6x6 paper pad and choose a couple of patterns that I think will go well with my photo. I'm keeping this page kind of muted. I really wanted it to look soft, and I didn't want to add a whole lot of bright color, and so this collection suited that very well, my plan for keeping it kind of muted color palette. So my photo is now matted twice, and I have adhered it to the top, but I kind of angled it just to give it a little bit of something. Now I want a nice cluster to the right of my page, and I want to add my title there and my journaling, just have it be all one big cluster. So I'm flipping through the scraps I have, and then I found this beautiful paper. This is cherry, I think it's called cherry birch paper. It's from the Cardstock Warehouse, and it's like this really thin wood veneer paper. I love it. The color is beautiful. It's just such a unique, fun element, and texturally I thought it would add that perfect touch to the page. I'm inking all of my edges here with some of my very, very favorite vintage photo distress ink, and I'm going to start to kind of get everything into place. I'm going to glue my photo down, or tape my photo down, but I'm not going to tape the edges of my photo, just the middle, so I can tuck stuff in and around the photo. So I went ahead and layered up that wood veneer piece and then another piece of pattern paper, and that's going to give me a landing spot for some stickers and embellishments. I decided to add this little teal strip. I'm going to get it in there just so you can still see the little scallopy edge, and I love that. It adds that perfect like papa color. And so I'm going to go through the sticker sheets. I have 2 sticker sheets that go with this collection and enamel dots. So I have a decent amount of embellishments, but not a ton, and that's okay because I tend to so very rarely, just here's my shopping thoughts on shopping. I will buy large collections and buy all the things of some things, but then a lot of times I just like to buy a little bit. I just want a little taste of it. I just want enough to make a couple of layouts because, as I've said in the past, I get bored easily. And I know that about myself. So I've kind of limited and started shopping a little bit differently so that I have more different collections and not necessarily everything from all the collections. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my title here. I'm using my T-square ruler because this is a very graphic layout and things they have to be straight. I know that my picture is kind of angled, but that was like the only angle I really wanted. I really just wanted the rest of it to be really nice and crisp and straight. So I'm using my T-square ruler to get my title just right. And since this is a brand new pack of thickers, I didn't have to worry about whether I had everything I needed. And also, my title has no E's. Yes! So I reserved the E's for another day. Now I'm just going to add some stickers. I'm going to kind of tuck things in and around. I really like that little camera, and so I know I want to use that. I'm going to layer it up with one of these little circles because I don't need the ampersand, but I like the idea of just having a little something there. And now I'm going to work and decide what I'm going to do for my journaling. So I noticed when I was going through the stickers that this one sticker sheet had journaling spots on it, and I decided I'm going to use one of those. I'm also going to be using a lot of these cute little borders that were part of the sticker pack. I really like those borders, and I used my last 2 on there. So I went ahead and used one of those stickers to add my journaling, and then I'm going to go ahead and look up the date quick on this photo, and I'm going to date stamp the bottom of the journaling. So for one of my goals for 2020 is to make sure that every single layout I do has a date on it. because as I'm putting layouts away, I find myself finding layouts without dates. And that gets to be a little tricky sometimes, depending on what it is and what we're doing. Sometimes I can figure it out, but I'm trying really hard to get dates on layouts this year. That's one of my big goals. It's actually been a goal for a couple years. And sometimes I do really well, and sometimes I don't. So the last little element on this that I'm going to pull in are just some of these little enamel dots. I'm going to sprinkle them around, mostly because I think I still had like the entire pack of them, and I didn't want to end up with the enamel dots left over at the end. And that's going to complete this one. Thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure to head over and take a peek at what Caitlin, Christina, and Sandy are doing with their word stamps. And we will see you all again next month. Have a wonderful day. Bye.